So you got a bunch of used computer parts or electronics and you want to try to sell them. I'm going to tell you where the best places are online and in person to do that. I've been selling my own PC parts and cell phones and laptops, etc. online and in person for like 15 years now, so I have pretty good experience. I've been on, the major platforms and even small forums and things like that. So today I'm going to go over which sites and which platforms are best to use for which scenario and my own experiences using each one of them. So one of my favorite staples is ebay.com. So eBay, everyone knows what eBay is. The thing with eBay is that you have the most exposure. So, you can type in like RTX 4090 and, there'll be a ton of results and you'll also be within those results. The thing with eBay is that since you have the most exposure, at least for high demand items, you'll get the highest price. One thing with eBay though is that if you have an account and you have no feedback, like you're a seller and you go here, they have like a rating of how many transactions they've done and what percent positive. If you don't have any, it's going to be a deterrence to a lot of buyers. And if it's not 100% positive, even if you have like many reviews, it's still another deterrence. Any online platform, eBay or otherwise, you also want to focus on items that are small and expensive. And this is because one, the eBay fee is very high. So if I sold this, this RTX 4090, that's extremely overpriced, for $3,800, eBay is going to take a cut of 13% almost. And then you also have to pay the shipping out of this. Most people do free shipping, so you have to factor that into the cost. Even though you get the highest price probably of all the online marketplaces, you'll also get one of the highest fees. So, but that works out for high demand items. If you squeeze out another couple $100, it'll probably cover that fee just fine. Another thing is I would never ship like big products like a case or something like that, because the shipping cost is just gonna destroy any margin you have on what you're selling. Even if you're just trying to recoup money, like a case is like $200, it's gonna cost like $50 to ship it, and the likelihood of it being damaged is like very high. Another good thing about eBay is that you can look at what has sold somewhat recently. So if you go here and you click sold, you can see how much whatever component has sold recently. So this is like the true price. So you can more accurately price and see how much your thing is worth. You don't have to kind of guess. And if you're lazy, for items like a stock GPU that if you've done nothing to and it doesn't have like cosmetic defects and things like this, you can even copy other people's like pictures, because it's essentially going to look the same, and then you can quickly post it without having to do too much effort. You can even do things like click sell now. So here's this listing that already completed, and it'll take that information if I could log in, and it would populate everything for me, so I don't have to set up a listing or anything. You can get to selling your item very, very quickly. So for the convenience and the exposure, you pay a price. And eBay also has local pickup, but I rarely run into a case where whoever's trying to buy my item is also local to me, and even then they usually don't want to come pick it up. So that's what that is. The one thing I forgot to mention about eBay is that if you're a new seller, you see here in my payments page, if you're a new seller, they usually hold your funds, especially if it's a pricier item, for like up to a week to when it's delivered, to almost like 30 days, depending on the total amount. So if you're new and you're selling something expensive and you need that money right away, eBay is definitely going to hold it for quite some time before it's released to you because of your status. So just keep that in mind if that's a problem, and it most certainly could be that eBay is definitely not the way to go. So my next favorite online marketplace is subreddit, and it's called hardwareswap. So r/hardwareswap. Whoop, like this. And this is just people on Reddit selling whatever components they have. It could be anything, but it's all electronics related at the end. And you usually have to have a PayPal account. they have a very stringent rubric on how you're supposed to post and how you're supposed to pay for your own safety, things like that. You also have a tracker for how many trades you've completed, but it's really annoying to confirm trades with other people, in my opinion. Everything's just very manual. It's like the exact opposite of eBay. It's just kind of like a flea market swap, but with like a lot of rules that you have to kind of read and get through. Now, if you don't have like a lot of like Reddit feedback or feedback from other marketplaces like eBay to up your cred here, people are probably going to be less likely to want to trade with you, depending on the item and the price. That's just how it goes. But you see here, like in each topic or each thread, they have like where their general location is. So like USA, Illinois, USA, Georgia, and whether they're looking for like local cash or PayPal. When they say local cash, they want someone to come pick it up, or if they say PayPal, they're probably willing to ship the item. Now they have a very smart rule. When they use PayPal, they never say use gift, but that also means there's going to be a 3% fee. You can either factor that 3% fee into the price of your item, or you're just going to have to eat it, just like you were playing on eBay. But 3% is a lot better than 13%. Now, the problem with Reddit, besides like the stringent rules and like just having to figure that all out, is that searching through this is like very difficult. So even if I just search this subreddit, like RTX 4090, just like eBay, like I have threads from 1 month ago, 2 months ago, years ago, whatever. Even if I sort like by newest, like I can't tell by looking at the thread topic if this is already been sold. Is it an active listing? I have to go into it or whatever, like this one, and then say, is it still for sale? Then I have to look at the picture, and then I have to contact the person. Is all very manual. And then when you go to sell a device, another thing is you have to do the pictures in a very specific way. Like it's the opposite of eBay, where I can just use the stock pictures or someone else's pictures over the same device. You have to have like a timestamp. You have to write your name or username on like a letter, and then if you don't have it in this particular format, they're going to like not post your listing. So it's compared to the other platforms, it's pretty intensive to get an item for sale. But on the flip side, the prices on Reddit are usually better because the fee is lower and people are, they're just trying to trade stuff. They're, trying to do you a solid. They're not going to like try to gouge you too much, even on high demand items, if you can find them. And you can find like a lot of stuff that you probably won't find on eBay. People parting out like full builds, things like that. Older parts that people are just trying to get rid of. You might have a higher chance of finding like a really good deal than on eBay, where everyone sees it and then they bid on it or whatever. Now, one thing I've had experience with people on Reddit and in person and online is that they're usually like very hardware enthusiasts. So doing the deal, they're very particular. Like if they come pick up your graphics card at your house, they want to see it working, they want to run some tests, and you got to take it out and you got to package it. Or if you pick it up, they go through this spiel, like all that stuff, because they're very in the know, and that can be a plus for you if you're buying. But if you're selling, it's kind of annoying and just, in my opinion, unnecessary. I shipped hundreds of things on eBay that are worth way more than things that you can find on PC Hardware Swap, and I have less questions on those things than these most of the time. Especially if someone with a high reputation, they just don't have the same level of trust, whether that's warranted or not. So you have to go through a lot more. There's a high chance you have to go through a lot more rigmarole to sell things. And that's my thoughts on PC Hardware Swap. One of the newer online like local ads / shipping platforms is Facebook Marketplace. It's not a bad place to sell parts. I just sold like an RTX 4090 Strix and I got the price I wanted. It was easy. The guy came, picked it up, paid cash. And they sell all sorts of things. Like you can see here, there's laptops, boats, furniture, whatever. It's just like a free-for-all of things you can buy on Marketplace. And it's easy, compared to Reddit, it's easy to look through. And the listings have statuses like it's still for sale or is pending. you don't have to like do too much digging into the actual listing to find out what the status is. On the flip side, as a seller, buyers are kind of like the ones on like Craigslist. They're gonna lowball you. They're gonna ask if it's available, then not reply, and then just ghost you. Anything, any local marketplace where it's not like a enforced purchasing system like a store. You're gonna encounter that. But at least Facebook is easily organized, and they enforce having pictures. They review the listings, somewhat to filter out like scams. So when you submit a listing, like you create a new listing, you have to go through like the form. It has a workflow, and then they review it very briefly to make sure it's okay. So as a seller, it's not too bad. As a buyer, you can find all sorts of things. And another thing, you feel a little bit safer on Facebook Marketplace than maybe like Craigslist or Offerup, because you are using your Facebook account. You're not anonymous anymore, and the people you see are also not anonymous. Like, see, when I sell, it's my profile. They can look me up. They can look by my real name if they wanted to, and then search me on the internet. And another thing, all the communication can stay on Facebook. So they'll have like a separate like thread, and then they'll keep that chat room open with that person throughout. So instead of like on Craigslist or Reddit, you don't have to exchange like additional contact information and move off the platform. It's all in one kind of a solution for trading in real life. And you can also do online. I think they have a shipping option, but it's generally not used for that purpose. So on Marketplace, I'll post anything I would post on eBay or Reddit, but I'll also post like smaller stuff that's like cheap, like RAM, like DDR5. I've sold a lot of like knickknacks, like computer cases, like because like they can be picked up. So like NZXT case, used water cooling parts, fittings, anything, because since they can pick it up, I don't have to worry about shipping and that eating into my profit or my whatever money I'm supposed to receive. It just works really well for that. You can also find like full bill computers that might be at a discount or like old stuff. So it's appropriate for almost any expense level and size of product compared to like online. So another online platform, marketplace, local and shipping is Offerup. I used to use Offerup, but I don't like to use it anymore after various experiences trying to sell higher end items and electronics. Generally on Offerup, it's more like a garage sale atmosphere. At least that's what people's attitudes, I feel, are towards. So they'll sell things like used bicycles, used beds, like furniture, because they're moving. They're trying to get rid of everything because they're not going to take it with them. So if you're trying to put like nice electronics on there or parts that are priced like, close to retail or like higher end, you're probably just going to get a lot of low balls or no interest at all. The only thing I use Offerup for is like selling like furniture and like used inflatable boat or like just stuff like I'm comfortable putting on the patio and letting people drop off money under my doormat and picking up and leaving. So even if they came and stole it, I wouldn't be too sad about it. But not for electronics. It's just every time I've posted it, it's just getting lowballed and it's just a waste of my time. The cell phone app is also horrendous, and like you open it and it crashes half the time. So I just avoid Offerup for anything besides a junk sale, essentially. Lastly, I kind of have Craigslist. Everyone knows what Craigslist is local only in general. And you go through the listing process. I'm sure everyone's been on Craigslist. Compared to Facebook, it's not as easy as a interface, but since it requires more effort, like if I want to buy something, I have to look at like the anonymous email or the phone number and like call or text or send an email to this thing. It kind of filters out low ballers a little bit more. It requires more commitment than opening up like Messenger and like saying, hey, is it for sale? Will you take like 50% off? So it's actually a little bit better for more expensive or like very particular items. If someone's looking for like extremely high end, like CPU, I'll put it on like Craigslist. And you can also post cheaper things, but I don't know if it's worth it to go through the effort of creating a Craigslist account, making a listing, putting your information in and then hopefully responding back and forth for that person for like, $50, like this power supply here. But if you want to be less bothered by low ballers for at least computer equipment, it's still decent. For vehicles and other things, yeah, there is all tire kickers and stuff on Craigslist, so that doesn't apply in this case. But I still like it, but it won't be my go-to. I'll only go here if I think it's an item that's not appealing on Facebook Marketplace, like server racks, things like that. Look at this. Like this is only appealing to very particular people, or like if I have a very exotic water cooling setup for my computer, or et cetera, like high-end monitor, I might try Craigslist in addition to Facebook Marketplace. So for the online marketplaces, you're gonna need some sort of feedback either as a buyer or a seller. If you're a buyer and you're trying to buy something super expensive, you have like zero karma or zero eBay feedback. People sometimes are scared because they might think you're a scammer, or you're trying to do a chargeback or use stolen financial information. If you're a seller, obviously they're going to be sketched out. They're not going to get their item for whatever reason. So buy or sell some cheap stuff first, just so you have a broader access to a different variety of items. Now, if you're only selling things like occasionally, I would not go for eBay, because eBay, you got to make a seller's account, and it's just a bit more complicated. I would just stick to Reddit, which is more like just an online, marketplace swap, versus eBay, which is like more like a store, and you kind of have to navigate your way around it. If you're going to be selling things regularly, I think it's worth the investment. It's just you can reach a much broader audience and a much wider range of things. Now, for offline marketplaces, I would just stick to Facebook Marketplace, to be honest, for electronics. Usually you'll reach all the same people you would reach on Offerup or Craigslist for the most part. If you have something that's peculiar, like then maybe you want to try Craigslist, but I would just always start with Facebook Marketplace. You're not anonymous, so it's generally safer too, especially if you just meet in a public place like most people do. Hey, if you liked this video, found it educational, insightful, or entertaining, please drop a like and subscribe and support the channel. This is Tech Addict, and I'm signing out again.